Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Evening all.
And tonight, we will be reviewing Resident Evil, sort of the film franchise, but we're going to review the first movie.
We're not going to do all the movies. We might do another one of them, but we're not going to do all.
Because at this point, we've got 7 movies, and we don't have enough time to review them all.
Technically speaking, I think there might be 6 movies, which might include the animated version. Plus, I think there's another 3 movies after that, which might have been animated as well. And so there's about 9.
Well, calm down anyway. Well, technically, there.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, and not to mention the reboot that hasn't come to be released just yet.
Good.
I mean, the reboot they're going to be doing is sort of more connected to the actual games.
Is it a reboot or is it a remake of one of the original movies?
No, just reboot.
No, it's just a reboot. Okay, so have a different story.
According to some sources I found, they said that they want to do a new movie based off the games with using the original characters from the actual games.
So they're going to make it a bit more like the original game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough.
Well, this one was fine and locations were great.
But it's funny you said that because the original script that was written was based on the first Resident Evil game. And they didn't like the script because it was too much like the game. They wanted to add it to it.
Yeah, well I guess that fans have, some of the fans and probably the studio have questioned whether or not maybe we should try to make it look closer to the game because fans are probably biting their nails over this.
Yeah, it's just quite funny you said that. I mean, I'm not a computer game person. I've played a few games over the years, the basic crap. But, I mean, there are new games out nowadays, and the younger folk probably aren't playing games like Resident Evil. They're playing other games. So, is this a problem?
Well, it's not a real problem. I mean...
it's a good reason to go, let's go and make a movie to satisfy the fans who probably don't care.
Maybe. But anyway, just so you guys know, I've been also checking out the new Resident Evil video games, the remakes of the actual originals, where they make the characters look more like real people. And
the graphics are great, aren't they?
Yeah, they're incredible. I mean, unlike years ago where people had a problem with too much detail, these days it's probably not a very big problem anymore.
No,
I guess.
I don't know how they do it. I mean, it is so... It's bordering on lifelike. It's almost a stage where it's hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still tell, but it's getting so close, it's almost ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think people had a very... I think the game people in the game industry thought if we do put too much detail, it might slow down the...
the game resolution.
Yeah, and it will cause a bit of computer problems.
But the computers have grown since...
Exactly.
Resident Evil movies, 2002. End of the last century, the computers were nowhere near as good as what we've got now. So, you could have... you beef up the graphics somewhat and look really, really good. Yeah.
Anyway, so who directs, writes, and stars in this?
This is the part that I like in most movies, but in this one specifically. Now, as we said, it's Resident Evil's an action horror film done in 2002. Now, it was produced by Bernd Eschinger, I think it's right pronounced his name, Samuel Hadida, Jeremy Bolt, and Paul Anderson. Now, here we go. Paul.
Now, this guy's an interesting
fella. Produced by
fella.
Paul, directed by Paul, written by Paul. So that's what I like, someone who's really hands-on.
And Mike was just telling me just a while ago that Paul... He has done some incredible movies.
Now, I've got a list of things that Paul's been involved with. Now, I don't know all of these movies, but I'll give you a bit of a run-off here, especially coming up to this movie. There was a movie called Shopping, where he was the director and writer. That was done in 1994. The following year, he did Mortal Kombat. I think that might have been the first movie. He was a director on that. Then he did Event Horizon. I wouldn't say it's one of my favourite movies, but it's a damn good movie.
Yeah, according to some people I've talked to, they said that the first Mortal Kombat movie he did, he did the only one, I imagine, it well, I guess it didn't do so well in the box office but thanks to Resident Evil, it has redeemed his film career.
Can I actually
Well, I'm just saying that Resident Evil has made his career blossom.
Well, I was going to say Event Horizon, which was a dark science fiction movie. That's the genre I'd put it into. That's a really weird movie. Now, that one there he did that the year or so, a couple of years before Resident Evil. Now, to me, Event Horizon was for graphics, set design, directorship. It was one of the a sci-fi thriller. Yeah, it was just it had something. So there's a lot of magic there, and he was a director on that one. Then he did a movie called Soldier in '98, and 3 years later or 4 years later he did Resident Evil, and then he did Alien versus Predator, and then Resident Evil Apocalypse, and then he did The Dark. I don't know The Dark. Then DOA, Dead or Alive.
Wow.
He did Resident Evil Extinction. Then he did Death Race, and etc. The guy has got
talent.
He's made some very, very fine movies.
And creativity on his part.
Well, I think with this, getting back to Resident Evil, being the writer, he had it. He had a vision of it. No, he had a vision of it in his head.
Yeah, and as being a producer and the director, he has complete control over his product.
He would have complete. There's other producers involved.
I know,
but
he's
one of 4 producers. Yeah. But I think they partnered with him because he had
a vision.
He had talent and a vision. Yeah, exactly.
Just a television.
Not just a pretty face. Yeah, no. Anyway, it was based on Resident Evil by Capcom, which I gather is a computer game crowd. Now, budget. This is what I like too, the money side of things. 33 mil. Box office, 102 million. So they've made a tidy profit on this one.
That's nice.
Now, interesting.
Pay off everyone.
Critical reception was not favourable. What the hell do they know? The people who go to the theatre and pay out the hard-earned bucks to go watch the movie, not to mention the home media aspect of it, these critics got no idea.
They probably played the video game and know what they're looking for.
Well, they probably don't like these sort of movies, so they're going to bag it. Yeah. You know, I mean, you did your Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. The people who commented...
Bear in mind, guys, I should mention this. Yeah. The Alice character, that's in all the movie franchise, I'm going to say, the movies, doesn't exist in the games. Yeah. In fact, she's modelled after, say, a lot of the female characters in the games, to make up for it. But other than that, she doesn't exist in the actual games. Alice.
The Red Queen, that one, I gave it the Red Queen part of it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
She was put in as a tribute to
tribute
Lewis Carroll.
to Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, Lewis Carroll, the guy who wrote it.
Yeah. So
they put a few things which weren't in the original game.
So she's a creation of Paul Anderson's Alice in Wonderland in his way. She's heading down a dark path of adventure and
down the
action
hole.
And stuff. And she does. I mean, in this case, she did. She goes
down in the hive.
She goes down to the hive, and that hints that she's going down to a world where unexplainable adventures.
Weird crap's going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway,
so I think Paul had a good inspiration behind this.
Good one, Mr. Anderson. You done well. And now, okay, I won't go on all the cast because it's really hard going for everybody, but the main ones are as follows. Mila Jovovich, Alice. Actually, her role changed a few times during the script writing. But anyway, irrespective. Alice, she is something like a security guard guarding the entrance to a place called the Hive.
Yeah, undercover.
Undercover, yeah. Well, no one knows the Hive is there. It's hidden. There's a mansion above it, and that's an access point.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the...
I think that comes from the original game where they actually went to a mansion to fight things.
But of course, in the mansion, it's more... Victorian style.
Yeah, but they go to the mansion and have a fight.
In this one, it was very a modern mansion, like the
very
mansions
nice.
that
I could live there.
Like the mansions that only a celebrity could live in, maybe.
But anyway, irrespective. Oh, that word's come out again.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, I can't stop saying irrespective. Please don't beat me. No. Anyway, yeah, so she's like a role-playing hubby and wife team with another guy I'll mention in a minute. And they live in this mansion and make out like the husband and wife, but they're actually a guard in the entrance to the hive. Now, okay. Now, Michelle Rodriguez, she's the next in line on the list here. She plays Rain Ocampo, and she's a commando who goes into the hive well, I won't say too much because Sarah's going to tell a story in a minute.
Shortly, yeah.
Hey, going to the hive, a bit of calamine lotion wouldn't go too far, Australia, going into the hive. Now, Eric Mabius, he plays Matthew, and Addison, he's an environmental activist. He's not a tree-hugging hippie, no, environmental activist. He knows there's something going on in the hive, and he's trying to find out what to make it do an expose on it with his sister, who happens to work there undercover. She gets converted to one of the naughty guys. Anyway, James Purefoy, he plays Spence Parks, Alice's partner in security. Also,
don't say it just yet.
Don't
say it.
I was going to say he's not all he's made out to be.
Okay,
all will be revealed. Now, next person I'll say, because I think I've seen him in other movies. Got Colin Salmon. He plays James One Shade. Now, okay, he plays the commando leader, and he gets killed off early in the
some
piece.
of those other characters.
I think he's been in some other movies. I just can't. I've seen his face around.
Yeah, I think that some of these characters here, they don't exist in the game either.
But I was going to go. I won't go through the other people's names, but the roles: Mr. Grey, Mr. Green, Mr. Black, Dr. Green, Dr. Blue, Dr. Brown, Mr. White, Mr. Hello.
Yeah,
Is there no imagination?
It's just that
I took it off the game, probably.
It's just the rest of the characters that came after, say, in the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Yeah. They all came after the movie.
It reminds me of Dark City, Mr. Book, Mr. Hand, Mr. Sock, Mr. Shoe. Yeah.
Yeah. The characters from the game came after this movie. I guess that's probably one of the reasons why this movie got bad reviews, because they thought, why didn't they bring any real actual characters from the game? And that probably got Paul thinking, maybe I should reintroduce the characters in the game to make it look real, more believable.
Well, yeah. Anyway, now I'm going to hand it over to Sarah in a minute. I can't think of anything else to say at the moment. Yeah, but Mr. Anderson. I won't call him Paul because I don't know. And it's best being a bit too. Paul, who cares? Paul, you did a good job.
I mean, mate, Paul is it's a formal. It's okay.
He has.
It's not formal. I mean,
he's a good director, but he's a writer, a director, and a lot of directors are brought onto a project trying to interpret somebody else's work.
True.
There it is. But he's done a whole lot, and I really admire people who can do the whole lot.
Didn't you say something that George A. Romero was about to be one of the directors on this project?
No, I said George Romero was one of the people who did one of the original scripts.
Yeah.
I think he was the original script writer. He did about 5 or 6 scripts and I rejected, not because they were bad, but because it was heading for, I think it was a NC-17 rating, and they didn't want an NC-17 rating movie.
I see.
Yeah. And the other guy who wrote scripts after him had the same thing. He had a good script, but it was going in the wrong direction. He was following the first computer game, but by the time they wrote the script, the second computer game had come out, and it was a little bit dated. That sort of stuff. So just a few little things. And then Paul was shown the game after doing Mortal Kombat. He says, I can write a script for this. And he wrote a script for it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So,
I guess this would be different.
It's really hard finding the right mix.
I guess it would be difficult asking George, who has done Night of the Living Dead and Day of the Dead.
Yeah, but he was shown the computer game from start to finish. Walked through, or someone did something to it. He saw it, but his take was more like the original computer game. Like you said, the reboot's going to be like the original computer game. That's the way he wrote it. They didn't want it like the original game. So yeah.
Yeah,
some little things like that, yeah.
Anyway, so I'll start talking about the movie itself.
Take it away, Sarah.
So it all begins with everyone's in the hive doing their business, and the hive is a special place where they do medical research and for the military.
It's genetic research, yeah. It's a hidden, secret laboratory.
Then one day a person unknowingly froze the T virus. The T virus is the virus that kind of causes the outbreak or the zombies.
And then a little bit of an explanation. The T virus is it's sort of a virus, but it's a thing that could, if it gets into a human being, it can kill them. But used in the right way, in the right doses, can actually genetically enhance you.
True.
But in this case, the way it's been used is kill people. So
the unknown person froze it and breaks it, and then it turns from liquid to airborne and starts infesting the place.
And so what happened to the computer system?
Yeah, they noticed right away that that something's off.
So she goes to lockdown mode.
Yeah, and then locks everyone inside the complex.
And then gasses them all or something, kills them all off.
Yeah.
However,
a few people were in the elevator, and they got the elevator starts acting funny, and then
I think Alice did that.
Yeah. Well, the Red Queen has done.
Oh no,
that.
Sorry, Alice. Yeah, sorry.
No,
I keep saying Alice. I mean the Queen.
See, the Red Queen is a computer, artificial intelligence, if you will.
Yeah, she's pretty smart,
and she's pretty nasty.
She's cute, little girl.
Yes. Anyway, it goes into lockdown, and a lot of things go hell.
Yeah,
and
anyway,
meanwhile, we meet our antagonist. Oh no, not antagonist. I mean, our protagonist. Sorry,
that's a lovely name, that.
So our protagonist is Alice, whom. Just so you guys know, Alice sort of represents the audience's perspective. That's why she has no memories or stuff like that, and we're like the frightened person watching it from her perspective.
She wakes up in the shower recess with no memory because she's been partly gassed as well.
Yeah, I mentioned this when when we reviewed John Murdoch, who also had memory loss, and he sort of represents us
running around trying to make sense of things.
So Alice is like a female version of that character, if you will. Anyway, carrying on. So she notices certain things, like she notices that there's a picture of her with Spencer, a good-looking guy,
who she doesn't remember at all because her memory's gone.
Yeah, and she notices a beautiful red dress on her bed, and
does she look hot in it?
And she notices a little note on her writing desk saying, "We're going to make all our dreams come true." Yada yada.
And she checked it, didn't recognise the handwriting or hers, so she wrote it her handwriting under it, and it was totally different. So it obviously came from
someone else,
a third party.
Yes. So she heads downstairs, and then she then runs into our sort of our protester. What's his name?
Our
again?
Environmental guy.
What's his name again?
Matt Addison.
Yeah, she runs into him, and then suddenly the Umbrella agents appear.
Well, Umbrella's the name of the corporation.
Yeah, that's the name of the Hive's business guys.
Yep.
They're the Umbrella. They're the ones who were responsible for the outbreak. Yada yada yada.
Yada yada.
Yes.
And another yada just thrown in for good measure.
Yes. So both Alison and Matthew are taken down to the Hive, and when they're on the train, there is a train that leads them down to the Hive. There's a train in the game, just so you know.
Actually, we'll step us back a little bit. The people who broke into the house, these people from Umbrella Corporation, they know who Alice is, but Alice doesn't know who Alice is. That's why they're dragging her along for the ride.
I think we never mention her name in this movie. We don't. I mean, she doesn't say, "Hi, I'm Alice" or anything like that.
No, it might get mentioned later on, right at the end, does it? Or,
yeah, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Alice and Matthew and all the guys, they head down into the Hive, and there along the way they meet Spencer, who was inside the cupboard within the train.
The train down there, which goes from just underneath the mansion to where the Hive centre of operations is.
Yeah, see, the Hive itself is underneath Raccoon City. That's another place that's inside in the game too.
Exactly.
So some of the locations are a little different, but other than that, they still got the same names from the game.
Whoopee.
So they head into the hive and they hope to shut down the Red Queen so they can find out what's been going down.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah. So they head down there and they run into a few snags with the security, where with a laser hallway, I should mention.
It's just outside where the Red Queen's CPU is, and it's a corridor. And it starts off one beam of laser comes down it. And, you jump over it, okay, that's fine. Then another beam comes down, a bit different level, and then later on, at the end of it, it comes like
I don't know.
almost like insect screen wire.
Yeah, and practically slice the last man like a watermelon.
Yeah, and lots of little pieces on the floor.
Ew.
Very nice graphic. That's where the dark gentleman. What's his name again?
I thought he was a nice man.
Colin Salmon.
And I was hoping he would last till the end, even though I watched
some of
this
these guys like
times.
that. And I'm not picking on Afro Americans, but there was I think in Alien there was a dark guy, an Afro American guy.
Yeah,
in it.
let's not be rude.
No, in Alien, and I think wasn't there in Jason X?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, there should be more Afro-American guys being the heroes.
Yeah, I think they should.
Because, why not? Yeah, it can't always be the white guys, pardon the language. But the point is,
That's George Romero.
Yeah.
He often casts, I know that sometimes I often think George may do his audition couch, and he probably auditions a lot of actors to play his hero, and he probably doesn't do it just because he suits the Afro-American role, but he probably casted him because he's a good actor.
Yeah.
Or a good actor.
Some of these guys really put out really hard in these movies, and they do good roles, don't they?
Because I am a filmmaker, as you so well aware, and I don't cast people just because the costume fits them. I cast them because
the personality
of their personality or their acting style.
Exactly right, and so. I think things are coming around a bit, but I'd like to see more mixtures, like maybe South Americans brought into it, Afro-Americans.
I was reading a George Romero book recently, and he explains that he wanted to include a mixture of different cultural, different ethnic backgrounds and stuff in his
you look
productions.
at Star Trek. On the bridge there, you got Captain Kirk, clearly American, and then you got a guy who's clearly Russian, and one's clearly Asian. And you got an Afro-American lady, Michelle. I can't remember the last name at the moment. They've got a cosmopolitan sort of cast, which is great. Should be more of it.
I agree. So anyway, moving right along. So they shut off the Red Queen for a while, and then all hell breaks loose, I should say. And this is where our first protagonist starts seeing the zombies. And at first they think they're survivors from the thing, but then they start acting weird and start attacking them.
And they're a bit on the hungry side.
Yeah, of course they keep shooting them for the stomach, for the legs, for the stomach, all that stuff. But they don't seem to realise that you have to shoot them for the head.
They haven't watched any zombie movies, have they?
No, but they don't know if these guys are just acting rabid or just acting weird. Or just don't know what's going on. I'm
in a state of shock. No, you're not. You're dead. Oh, yeah, well, that's a bit of a shock.
Yeah. Anyway, they start trying to eventually avoid them as much as possible, but they keep on running through problems and ending up stuck in the Red Queen's vault. But Alice decides to turn her back on so they can find a way out.
Yeah, they said they're either going to die in there or risk. Dying because they turn the Red Queen back on.
See, the Red Queen even warned them that you're all going to die down there.
Yeah, she warned them. What a nice, friendly warning.
Yeah, creepy.
Creepy. Actually, it's really funny. It got this little girl's, hologram. Well, I think it's 12 or 13 or something, or 14.
Another interesting fact is that the Red Queen doesn't exist in the game either.
But it works good in the movie.
I guess when Paul was developing Alice's character, he decided to make an artificial intelligence computer also named the Red Queen, which could indicate as in the Queen from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that was a tribute outlet. So to Lewis Carroll. So
again.
So Alice and the Red Queen and all that stuff. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. So, anyway, moving on. They turn her back on, and she says that the only way to defeat these creatures is to shoot them in the head or dislocating their breaking their neck.
So, it's like in all the other movies. You break their neck, like a Greek snappo, like they do in all these movies, or a bullet to the brain, or that sort of stuff, or or a heavy instrument smacked in the head a couple of times.
All the while throughout this movie, Alice starts getting flashbacks to the past.
You're getting a memory back in bits and pieces.
Yeah. She then realizes that Matthew?
Matt. Matthew is friends.
Matt's sister, who was in undercover and all that, and she knew Alice. And
Alice was helping her do an expose on
trying to expose the Umbrella Corporation
for what it really was, and so let the world know what naughty things were up to,
so she was in on it, and then while Spencer, I'm not sure if he had his memory wiped or anything like that.
No, he lost his memory too, and that's how he had no memory, but he's getting his memory back about the same time she was.
Yeah. Eventually, he picks up on it, and he snaps to action, telling Alice that he wants to sell the virus and the vaccine. There's a bit of a cure for the T virus.
Oh, they got a bag there about the size of a attaché case. Yeah. It's got several vials of the virus and several vials of the antivirus.
Yeah, interesting thing is that, as it turns out, that he had it on the train all the time.
But he couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Well, his memory's been wiped, remember?
Yeah, and just so you know, guys, if I forgot, one of their members is he's slowly is bitten, obviously, and she's slowly turning to a zombie a little bit.
Slowly, very slowly. Agonizingly slowly.
Yeah, so anyway, our heroes are given a difficult choice.
The Red Queen says, "Hey, I'll help you out, but only one condition.
You kill her."
You kill her. Yeah. And Alice says, "Nah."
Yeah, Matthew sneaks away. He got bitten by one of the zombies, and he tries to get himself injected to inject the vaccine in himself. But then a huge creature that was placed in one of those a bit of a tanker or whatever that thing was, and according to the Red Queen, she let it out.
Yeah, the one who killed Spencer, mate, is it?
Yeah. And she says, "Oh, I've been a very naughty girl."
Yeah, she let the creature out to kill Spence because he was, he's going to try to run away at the stuff, and she stopped him.
Yeah.
But the fact that these creatures were their first experiments in genetic mutations.
It was injected into living tissue, and it caused some horrible mutations and all that stuff.
But in the right doses, it can actually help and make you stronger, and that shows up in the second movie.
Yes.
But we won't talk about it now.
Anyway, moving on. So Alice is given a hard choice: kill the girl that she hardly knows, or risks being eaten by the zombies.
Decisions. Oh, gee,
and
I don't
so
know.
she chose the latter and tells the Red Queen to go to hell. Well, not in those terms, but you get my meaning when you see the movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, she and the others then head back to the train quickly before the other zombies arrive.
Yeah, they've been. You've seen these zombie games. All these zombies are running all over the place, like like the crazy people they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they then headed off to the train, and of course the girl gets injected with the antivirus thing, and somehow it doesn't stop.
No, it's too late. She got it earlier.
I guess it's
fine.
like what you call stage 4, if that's the word.
Well, so like stage 4 cancer. No, you might as well just organise a funeral.
Although in some video games, some of the times the heroes co-character would often go ahead, gets poisoned by the zombies, but at the same time you do eventually save them, and they go on to live a normal life.
And live happily ever after.
Exactly. So, anyway, moving on. So, they get onto the train. They have only a few minutes left because if they don't get back to the mansion, the doors close.
Yeah, they'll give them 1 hour. Yeah. I think, was it 1 hour? 1 hour to get in.
Movie time.
Do whatever and get from when they broke into the mansion and met up with Alice, they had about 1 hour from then to go into the hive, do whatever they had to do, and then get out again. Otherwise, there's going to be permanent lockdown in there.
Yeah.
To contain any contamination.
Yes. So anyway, there was no point, and then eventually the creature starts attacking them on the train, and he scratched Matt on the arm.
Boo-boo.
And the other remaining guy, he gets taken and killed.
Dragged out through the doors.
Yeah. And now it's up to Alice to kill this creature, and eventually her and Matt able to destroy it. Obviously.
Yeah. There's a trapdoor above this train thing, and they open that up, and the creature falls through. He got this long tongue, hence the nickname is called a licker. Yeah,
interesting thing is that in the game Resident Evil 2, this scene took place. They also had at the end of the game a scene where the protagonists, I should say, they start killing a creature that attacks them on a train. This probably came from that very scene.
Yeah. And he got all burned up from the electricity, the DC voltage.
Yeah,
unlike a crispy critter.
Unlike in the other games where you end up shooting the creature till it's cold and dead, but unfortunately that doesn't happen here. They had to defeat it the old-fashioned way, by hand. Eventually, the creature gets crispy critted, and they eventually arrive back to the entrance, and the door closes, and they were able to get back to the mansion. And of course, Alice tries to quickly get the antivirus into the cure into Matt, but unfortunately, she doesn't get.
Just at that moment, there's another break-in.
Yeah, the scientists for Umbrella appear, and they start quarantining dear old Matt.
They got the white suits on, the goggles and everything.
And they attempt to take him away so they can get him ready for the Nemesis project.
program, which shows up in the next movie.
Yeah, as you could see. And Alice was dragged away.
Good segue for a sequel.
Yeah, and Alice is dragged away. Then we watch in a few scenes where she's on the doctor's table, and she hears voices of the doctors telling so and so about this project, this yada yada yada, and they want to go. They even go on and mention what's happened down at the hive. We must find out. Yada, yada.
And it's like she's in a bit like coming in out of consciousness, so she must be hearing stuff or whatever. Yeah. And anyway, she wakes up.
She then wakes up, and she then.
And the place is quiet.
The place is very quiet, and she heads out using the hospital stuff that she does. She picks the lock.
She picked the lock.
And she was able to get out, and she finds out that Raccoon City is infested with zombies now.
Or something like that. She comes out, and the hospital's no one works. She can't hear anybody.
Yes.
There's no one walking around.
So she ends up picking
walks outside and sees the place. Yeah.
She picks up a discarded gun from a police car, and starts preparing herself for the franchise.
Yeah, well, pretty much, yeah. But when she comes out of the this operating theatre type thing she's being kept in, she gets out there. There's no one there. There's not a noise. It's like an empty hospital. Everybody who was in there is no longer in there.
Yeah.
And then she walks outside, the place looks like World War III.
Yeah, so that's the movie, and I'm not going to review all of them because there's too many.
Well, we might do this movie, or we've done this movie, and we might do the second movie, because that leads into the rest of the franchise a bit more.
And it reveals our rest of our characters. In that one, she goes on, she's not only... the only one who's aware of what's going on. There's Jill Valentine, who's a police officer who's been dismissed from the force, and she knows exactly what's happening, and she people to step in, and Carlo, I think his name Carlo. Yeah, Carlo. A member of the Umbrella Corporation, guys. He's a soldier or an agent who tries to fight these creatures off as best he can. And of course, they are assigned to try to find one of the doctors that in the Umbrella whose daughter is at school, and they have to find her, which they do. They eventually find her, and they end up heading to a helicopter awaiting them, and we find out that the bad guys have been sort of hearing the doctor's transmissions to get them to, to the location that he's assigned for them to get picked up. Unfortunately, our friends, the Umbrella guys, they find out about this, and they attempt to have Nemesis finish them off.
Yeah. Don't get too much of Nemesis. Yeah, that's the next.
Nemesis is a next level monster. Like, if you watch video games, he's like the boss monster.
Well, he's sort of like next level. They had those liquors, which was they first tried out. That didn't work properly, but they've developed things a bit better now, and they've got this guy Matt, and they've been.
Yeah, and somehow he's developed into Nemesis.
He was developing from the infection, and I don't know what else they did to him, but he became their
pet,
their mutant. But he's sort of like somewhere between a mutant and the Incredible Hulk. You can't stop him; you shoot him, and he just keeps going and stuff. And
the interesting thing is that
but he still retains some of his memory.
Yeah, unlike this movie, in the other one, he's a killing machine. Like Mr. M is, I think. Oh, I'm not sure if he's Mr. M. There is throughout the Resident Evil movies. There's always a final boss who's powerful, and it's up to our protagonist, the character, to fight them and kill them if they can.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it has happened in a number of video games. I've been noticed.
Yeah.
Where the hero lead character must fight this creature using a gun or a bazooka or whatever to destroy it. Of course, in this one, he does get destroyed. He gets
Who? Matt.
Yeah.
Well, he gets killed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does get killed, but
he got blown up by that. What was it, a helicopter? No.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was blowing up.
He was able to help Alice in the end. I think he maintained a few of his memories afterwards.
His brain was a bit garbled. You know, like the Incredible Hulk when he went. Was Bruce Banner had a really great brain. When he became the Hulk, he had a fuzzy brain. He couldn't remember everything, but he still had little remnants of that. Yeah.
And I like the fact he still remembered his old love interest.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, it's going back a little bit. Script writing. I was talking to Sarah about this before. In May 1998, that period of time, Alan McElroy was actually writing the script, and it was very much based on the first game.
I think you mentioned that, right?
Yeah, but and then that was rejected because it was very much like the original Resident Evil game, very close to it.
What is the problem with these guys?
No, they didn't want it to be totally like that. And then they brought on a bit later in the year, George Romero was brought on. He wrote about 6 scripts, and they were rejected, not because they were bad. And actually, McElroy's script wasn't bad either. Just it didn't suit what the producers and directors were looking for. George Romero's were getting it. I think there's comment there. They mentioned it was more like an NC-17 classification. They didn't want it to have that sort of classification, so the script had to be rewritten. And I think along came, eventually, John Anderson, who saw the computer game, so I can do the script, and he wrote the script. How's that going? It was hard going. It took several years for it to get off the ground.
Good grief.
So, yeah, a lot of work. And a job well done by all.
But you got to admit, they were a bit not nasty in there.
No, it wasn't nasty. They hired someone to write a script that you don't have to take it. if it doesn't suit what you want.
Yeah.
But John Anderson, he produced, directed it, and wrote it, so he knew what he wanted. Yeah, and it came out pretty good. As far as I'm concerned, it was pretty good. Anyway,
I'm kind of looking forward to the Resident Evil reboot. That this time they will probably follow the actual story as best they can, and maybe even bring in the characters from the actual game.
Probably. I think you said before that they might be going a bit more back towards the original game, so they'll probably bring those characters back in.
Yeah, so we'll...
Maybe.
Yeah, that'll be good.
What's this space? Hey.
Well, I'll keep an eye out. Anyway, and apart from these 6, or this movie franchise, they also made the few cartoon-type movies.
Yeah.
Using the actual real characters, making them the lead characters. No, Alice... No.
No.
Alice, as I said before, is a product of Paul's imagination.
Yeah, actually, before the Paul script came along, the character Alice, even though it might not have been going to be called Alice, was actually going to be part of the SWAT team.
Ooh.
Or the commandos or whatever. And she was going to be going in there and fighting the creatures in the house. Because they had the female lead still in mind, but it wasn't actually called Alice, maybe. It was called something else, maybe. Yeah, so they still had the idea of a female protagonist, had a good word. Hero,
it's a shame they never...
final girl.
It's a shame they never explored the actual mansion too much. In the actual games, in the first one, they are... The lead characters, the characters in that one, they would often explore the mansion to find out if there's anything wrong with the place, and they find zombies in the hallways, corridors, stuff like that. Limited. But I guess I see their point. Why?
I'm going to walk down a hallway here. Someone's going to jump out. I'm going to shoot them. Walk down another hallway. I'm going to shoot somebody else. Another monster jumps out of that. It's still too much like a computer game.
Yeah, I guess.
But when you got something like getting that, you go to the Hive. You got a multi-level medical scientific facility. It opens up more things for the story to develop.
I guess your point.
Yeah. When you're doing a computer game, you want it nice and tight. You don't want it like the movie. You want it nice and tight, so it's all in one building.
Anyway, I do enjoy watching the cartoons. I also heard they might be making a cartoon of the TV series of using Resident Evil, too. I haven't heard.
That's for kiddies or for grown-ups?
Use imagination. I think it's more. I think it's more for the adult audience more than.
I like to think so. I mean, at least bodies running around.
Or at least, what's the word? What's the term that for 15? The G rating. Or
that NC-17 rating.
Yes,
yes, they're not recommended for children.
Censor to
not for. I was going to say NC-17, I believe, is not recommended for children under 17 years old. So the animated version may be similar. I don't know. I haven't
considering that Resident Evil is not really good for. Well, maybe not good for. I won't show it to my niece and nephew. They're still too young.
No. Well, they do like creepy things. I don't mind ghosts and goblins and different things.
But I don't think they would like this.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, they're still too young, so I won't show it to them until they're at least a certain age.
23. Okay.
Oh, by the way, I should mention the original actress that was going to be playing Alice was going to be Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, because of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think I could like it, and I don't think the audience would like it either.
Now, I was talking about of these hero-type action female figures. Now, this lady here, Mila Jovovich, Halle Berry, what's the other bird? Tomb Raider lady? Who does Tomb Raider? Metal Block.
That would have been
Jolly. Metal Block. Tomb Raider lady. I mean, they pick athletic Amazon-looking females almost for these roles, and that's what they got to look like. And I think they chose wisely for this franchise.
There's also been talk that they might be looking at redoing the game again, but this time from a first-person's perspective.
Oh, very nice.
Where the computer itself is your eyes.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. And throughout, you'll be moving. Well, if you've seen the games, you would see what I'm talking about. That about first person's perspective instead of just of a second person perspective.
Yeah, that's okay.
Go on.
Why not? I was just going to say, when choosing these sort of female leads, they're choosing wisely. They're believable. You couldn't have a stick figure like who's a really skinny female.
You ought to one day check out Resident Evil. What was it?
I've checked them all out.
Well, I meant the game. It's
no,
you ought to check out the one where it deals with before the story in the game, where it takes place in a farmhouse, and it's one of those hillbillies type houses, and it starts, and one of our heroes in this kind of tries to fight off a weird thing that's taken possession of his wife, all that stuff. It's a really awesome game. It's a first person perspective, and it's really good.
Actually, just as a bit of a side here, a lot of those zombie people in some of those scenes where the zombies are walking around and dragging their bodies across the ground, they hired dancers to do that.
Cool.
The reason being, they hired professional dancers because they had better control their body and they can follow the movements better. So we want you to walk that way, they'll practice a walk and it'll be the same way. When they have to do it today or tomorrow, they wouldn't say, I'll make that as we go along.
Yeah, I read somewhere.
But in some of the crowd scenes, they just got anybody who was available and threw in there. Yeah.
Interesting thing is that they during filming, there was a scene where they had a birthday for one of the crew members, and of course Paul was a little concerned about them drinking alcohol, and in the end they end up being a bit drunk during filming.
That helps your zombie. Falling all over the place.
Yeah, I read somewhere that our Alice character, she actually got minor cuts and bruises on her face in real life, and they were not really applied by makeup or anything like that. They kind of
they just worked it in.
Yeah, kind of clever, really. To be honest, I don't know how she got them, obviously, but.
Running around and just creases circles, running and all the props and stuff, you're bound to get a graze here and a cut there. And
and I read somewhere that Mila
Jovovich.
Yeah, she kind of beat the crap out of both cast and crew. I don't know why.
Did she?
Yeah, during filming, I don't know. I don't know if that she probably wasn't when she was either doing the fight scenes that maybe she.
Maybe she didn't pull the punches.
That's probably it.
That can actually happen. A bit roughhousing there, and if she's not a stunt person and she's working with stunt people and whatever, and people present zombies trying to attack her, she's going to obviously fight them off, and she might have got a little bit rough.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, I would. I mean, you get involved. Just, make it real. It is real. Oh, I'm being killed. I'll kill these people. No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I have more cat sitting down here. She's like my pussy cat.
Yeah. Anyway, I enjoy watching some of the Resident Evil movies. I mean, I do get a little tired throughout this half the series because it went on too long after all.
I don't know it took too long. I mean, sometimes, I wouldn't say they were clutching at storylines, but I mean, I sat through them all. They were all watchable.
Yeah.
But the first one usually has the main energy. Maybe even the second one. But then again, where are we going to take the story now? And then they got to try make it work. Which I mean, if they go back to George Lucas, the Star Wars, those first 6 movies were already written in one hit. They just took a segment out of the middle of the story where the Luke Skywalker person came in, and they finished it at a particular point so they can roll on to the next movie. That's quite different. The whole story is already written.
Yeah.
But when you say, okay, I've done a movie, I've left an open ending so I can roll onto a sequel, and then I've got another one here, going to leave it open for another sequel, and you haven't even got the script written yet. Yeah, it makes it very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, should we rate this one, or should we look at some of the movie reviews that...
No, the movie was crap. They don't know what they're talking about. I don't think anything worthwhile. There's a comment I found here, and I really don't know what it means.
Okay, go ahead.
In 2014, filmmaker James Cameron named Resident Evil his biggest guilty pleasure. No, I think it means he likes watching it, but he doesn't admit he likes watching it.
Oh, I get it.
I don't know why. What's wrong, James?
Maybe he's worried he'll tell
his friends might tell him, yeah, you like that movie. No, yeah, whatever. I don't know. But
I don't know.
I thought it was rather funny.
It shouldn't be a guilty pleasure. I mean, it should be just an enjoyment to watch.
He watches it behind closed doors so no one can see him.
Yes.
But whatever. See, he's a filmmaker. He likes it.
Why would you call it a guilty pleasure?
No, but he wants to do it. He does. I think he watches it, but I think it's. I don't want anyone to know, and I think it's sort of like he doesn't want people to know he likes it.
Until everyone does now, no.
Oh, I don't know, but it's 2014. I don't
anyway, should we rate this now?
Honestly, I'm gonna give it a 10, only because I admire the gentleman Paul Anderson for writing, producing, and directing it, and it came out so damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't fault the movie. I mean, you either like these sort of action sort of movies or you don't like them, action horror movies. I like action horror movies, and I think he's really done a great job on this movie. And taking it from a computer game, an action computer game, and transferring that into a script the same way Mortal Kombat was. And he did the directorship of that a couple of years earlier.
But luckily, Resident Evil redeemed him after that movie flop.
Forget that. The point is, he was used to directing something like Mortal Kombat, which was originally a computer game, and he had experience. And when he did the Resident Evil one, he had an idea on how to do it, and from his previous experience. And he's done a really, really fine job as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so I'm going to rate the film franchise, considering this is more about
you're going to rate the franchise.
Yeah, I'm going to say 10 out of 10 for me too.
I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 for this first movie. And I've seen the other movies. I would say, honestly, I think 9.5 to 10 for the rest of it. I don't like it when they say, "Oh, we're going to make a CGI movie, a graphic one." That was the fifth movie or something or other.
Whatever happened to filming in an actual desert is beyond me.
I mean, they just it was just all computer generated. I know that you can do it, but just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. Remember in Jurassic Park, they said when they cloned the DNA for the dinosaurs?
Yes.
I know we have the technology to do it, but did anyone ever ask, should we do it? Jeff Goldblum?
I do wonder sometimes what would have been like if George A. Romero would have...
His script.
Is one of his scripts got accepted in this?
It would have been totally different.
It would be totally different, and it might be a little bit more gorier.
Well, I think that's the whole problem. His writing style didn't suit the producers and stuff, and that's why it didn't get accepted. They didn't say the scripts were bad; it just didn't suit what they're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they.
George Romero was a brilliant man for. I'm going to use the word cheap horror in the nicest possible way. He did it on a budget when he did his first movies.
I gotta admit, though, he's a smart man, and I like the fact he was one of us, the independent filmmakers.
And I've got a lot of respect for guys like George Romero and the other guys back in those days who did it with 2/10 of bugger all and money-wise.
What really annoys me sometimes is that producers overlook the fact that they started off like that.
Yeah.
They started off as struggling filmmakers who are trying to make their production work.
Well, Roger Corman started off like that. And other people. Alfred Hitchcock was a screenwriter or something rather than early days. He worked his way up the food chain. His first movies are crap, and he finally became a fantastic producer-director, But everyone's got to start somewhere,
True. So anyway, I think that's about it for tonight. So,
I'm getting tired.
So I hope you guys may check out the film franchise as much as you can.
Look, it's good. I think it's 6 real movies and 3 animated. I think I can't remember. I haven't checked. I haven't got the figures on
and the TV show will most likely be coming out very soon.
So
this year.
Look, I would at least say if you haven't seen the franchise at all, at least give number 1 and number 2 a shot.
And if you don't like them, you can always try out the games or the actual cartoons.
The games, but there are plenty available on eBay and Amazon to buy. Amazon for rent if you like. I'm going through Prime. It's easy to get.
Yeah.
Your local shop might still have copies of them.
I'm not knocking the film franchise or the cartoons, but if you guys have a joint a disagreement on which one you don't like, or just you like the cartoon series, feel free to pass on the message that you like that one, or if you like the film franchise, let us know, and we'll be sure to look forward to your comments on it.
Yay!
I would like to hear at least a few comments on how you guys feel about the franchise and how you guys feel about Resident Evil, the games and the cartoons and all of the stuff.
Some of you older people, I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I'm old. I remember when Pac-Man was new, and everybody else, man. Yes, that sort of stuff. Pong. Remember Pong? You're playing ping pong on the old. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I've been around a long time. I'm 67. But guys younger than me would have grown up watching things like Resident Evil and whatever. Some of the younger guys may not have seen it. Though you're 20-year-old and stuff. Now, go and have a look. A bit of retro stuff ain't bad. Go and have a look.
Great.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for listening to this latest podcast for everyone. So this is Sarah Stephenson
and Michael
saying we'll see you guys for the next one.
Be good.
And be sure to stay away from the zombies and keep your doors closed.
And if a zombie comes up and menaces you, remember, snap their neck or shoot them in the head or take an axe to them and hit them between the eyes with it. Only way to stop a zombie. Okay?
That and probably wear your mask in case you breathe in
and don't forget your mask so you don't get any contaminated breathy bits off them, because that's how they transmit it. Especially in this movie, it's airborne.
Very careful, fellas.
And also fluids. If they bite you, you're in trouble like all the other movies.
All right, that's about it for us. So we'll see you guys for the next one.
Bye guys.